So let's continue working with this project. Right here we have these print events. So we're gonna use again this UI instance, and we're gonna call this method display events. And we're gonna pass the wall object, events. So this is going to be passed into the display events. So we're gonna open UI. And since this is going to be one of the main methods, we're gonna add this on the top. Display events from the API. So we're gonna call this one display. Is display events? Yeah, display events. And this is going to take the events object. So it's going to be like this. Console.log events, and just to make sure that this is passing to this method. And we're gonna add again, I'm gonna add my city, search, and you can see that we have events right here. So I think we can add an extra event. We can pass this event list. I think this is going to be better. If we pass the complete object, and let's add again, I'm going to add Jalisco, search, and yeah, definitely it's going to be better because this way we don't have to access another property into the object. So then we're gonna build the template. And we're gonna start with a let HTML template. It's going to be an empty string. So then we're gonna loop through these events. So we're gonna add loop events and print the result. So we're gonna use events dot for each, and I'm gonna call this one event info. If you add event like this, event is a reserved keyword in JavaScript, so we're gonna add event info like this, and we're gonna use the arrow functions. And this is going to be a really big, and right here I'm missing a parenthesis. This is going to be a really big template, so you can refer to the code snippets in case that you face any problem. This is going to be the template that we are going to write. Some people prefer to copy this and paste and continue. Some other people prefer to watch me typing this and explaining the properties. So feel free to copy this and continue if you want. So here we have on the index, we already have this row. So we're gonna use the Bootstrap grid. So we're going to display this one next to the other. You can see this one is called result. So here in the constructor, then we have this init. We're going to select the results. So it's going to be like this. That result, a new property is going to be added to the object, and we're gonna document get element by ID, and we're gonna pass the result. So now we can access this result in these display events. So we're gonna refer this as this dot init result equals to the HTML template, in an inner HTML like this, equals to the HTML template. So we're gonna start building this template. So we're gonna add HTML template, and we're gonna concatenate. We're gonna use a string or template literals, and from here I'm going to add a div with the class. We're gonna start call MD4. We're gonna use the Bootstrap grid. So we're gonna close the div. Then we're gonna use the cards. So we're gonna use div class card. So each of the events is going to be in a card. So then we're gonna use div class and card body, and we're gonna close the card body. This card body is going to hold the contents. So we're gonna add img, and we're gonna insert the image for the event. So if you click here, and you will find that the image is right here called logo. So we have logo, and then we have a URL in order to access the image for this event. So we're gonna add img class, img fluid, and we're gonna add also mv2 margin bottom 2. The src, we're going to add the $, and we're gonna access this event info. So there are some events that have an image, some others doesn't have an image. So we're going to use the ternary operator right here. So we're going to use event info dot logo. In case that this is not equals to null, we're going to add event info dot logo dot URL. Otherwise, it's going to print an empty string. So basically, because there are some events that doesn't have this image, so we're checking that if the event doesn't have the image, it's going to print this empty. So then we're going to create another card body. So we're going to add div with the class card body, and here on the bottom we're going to add div class card text and close the div. So right here we're going to add the event name. If you open the response, these are called as a name. So you can see we have name and we have an HTML and text. We're going to use this text because we're going to add the HTML. So we're going to add h2 with the class text center and card title. So we're going to add the $sign and we're going to add event info again and a dot, and we're going to access this using name and then text. So dot name dot text and close the h2. I'm going to collapse this so you can see better the code. Then we're going to add a P or a paragraph with the class. We're going to add a class called lead and we're going to add text info. Text info is going to be a class that I added. So we're going to add event information and then we're going to add a paragraph right here. So the description of the event is going to be here on the description. You can see that we have HTML, this will print these paragraphs, or we also have this text. Chances are, for example, this one, you can see that this is a really long description. So we're going to add the following. We're going to add the $sign and we're going to copy this main object, event info, dot description dot text, and we're going to use a method called substring, and we're going to trim this when we reach 200 letters. Then we're going to add 3 dots like this. We're going to add another ones. We're going to add, for example, an span class, going to be batch and batch primary. So we're going to add capacity. And here on the event info, you can see that we have also the capacity. It says 200 persons. So we're going to use $sign again, event info, and a dot, capacity, and close the span. So let's add another one, span class, batch, and batch, secondary, and this is going to be date and time like this. So we're gonna add event info, and there are several methods that you can use. If you scroll, and you can see we have this start, and we have local, we have time zone, and UTC, and I think here on the top we have another one. We have height and date, and this is more a property. So we're gonna use this start and then local. So scroll to the top. We have event info. We're going to add dot start dot local and close the span. So finally, we're gonna add a button, a href, where the persons can buy some tickets. So for example, here on the URL, this is going to take you to the URL of this event. In case that you want to allow the persons to buy the tickets in the website, if you take a look here on the REST API, you can see that we have some tickets also. But in case that you want to sell tickets in your website, you have to contact the Eventbrite team, and they are going to give you more advanced information. So we're going to add a target is going to be blank, because when the user clicks on this, it's going to open this in a new window. Then we're gonna give some classes, BTM, BTM primary, BTM block, MT4. All of these are Bootstrap classes. So we're gonna call this one get tickets like this and close the anchor. So this is going to be the template, and let's open the project. And right here I'm going to add, for example, I'm gonna add again my state, Jalisco. Click here on search and close this. And you can see that we have some events right here. They are printing the image. You can see they are printing the images. We have the title, we have the event information, and that is right here. And you can see that we trim this description in some of these. And we have the capacity, we have the date and time. And you can click here, and this is going to open the Eventbrite website where the visitors can buy some tickets. So we can close this and we can make another search. So for example, business and professional, let's say we make a search for an event in Bitcoin, search, and you can see that we have the results, Bitcoin Training Center, and we have some other examples. And you can filter by the other categories also. And also if you remove this and you make a search, you can see we have this message. And also if you type something like this and it didn't find any results, we have no results found. So in my opinion, this was a really complete project and something that we make from scratch using the Eventbrite API.